For Timiskaming-Cochrane.
Yesterday, after word of the finalized deal emerged, the Minister of Agriculture, our Minister of Agriculture, was very clear about concerns for the TPP's negative implications on Ontario supply-managed farms. In his statement on the Government of Ontario website, he was very clear that the TPP could undermine consumers' desire to buy local, jeopardizes Canada's supply management system, and does not provide Canadian producers reciprocal benefits to export. That's a quote. But in a speech to the Empire Club, the Premier, while discussing the same TPP, stated it is important that we take hold of this as an opportunity. She went as far as to criticize the leader of the federal NDP for not supporting the deal sight unseen. So, through you to the Premier, does the Premier agree with the Minister of Agriculture that this opportunity could jeopardize Ontario's supply-managed farms?
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, here's the thing. It is a complex deal. And the fact is, Mr. Speaker, that there are many parts to it. There's the part where we will have opened markets, where we will actually see opportunities, Mr. Speaker, where businesses in this province and in this country will have more opportunity. That's one part of this situation, Mr. Speaker. The other part is we have concerns. We do have concerns. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Mr. Speaker. The fact is we have concerns about the supply-managed sector. We have concerns about auto parts, Mr. Speaker. We have been clear about that. But that does not mean that we wash our hands of an opportunity to expand markets. The fact is we live in a global economy, and to oversimplify our position in the world would be irresponsible, Mr. Speaker. We're not going to do that, even if that's the NDP's choice.
Supplementary.
Thank you once again to the Premier. The market access granted to non-Canadian, non-local food will be lost to Ontario farmers forever. Farmers that operate at no cost to the taxpayer until this trade deal was announced. On October 1st, the Minister of Agriculture stated, when you have a really good trade deal in place, you really don't need to discuss compensation. Yet, we're moving from a system where farmers earn enough from their products to a system where the government will have to cover the shortfall.
Shame.
Is the Premier willing to risk Ontario's supply-managed farms on a deal whose details no one has really seen, or is she too invested in campaigning for federal counterparts?
There's an expression about pot calling the kettle black, Mr. Speaker, but anyway, the fact is that this is a deal that will have an influence on every province and territory in the country, Mr. Speaker. There hasn't been enough information about it. Stephen Harper has not included premiers of the provinces and the territories in those discussions. I've called for that. Premiers have called for that, Mr. Speaker, at the Council of the Federation. He didn't do that, so we don't have all the information. I have concerns, Mr. Speaker. I have concerns about the supply-managed sector. I've been a huge supporter of supply management, along with the Premier of Quebec, Mr. Speaker. I've been very, very clear about that. I have concerns about the auto sector, Mr. Speaker. But the reality is we don't have all the information. We have to analyze it, and we have to recognize that we are part of a global economy. We need those relationships, we need those markets, we need to seize the opportunities and at the same time make sure that the conditions are right for our industry here in Ontario.